here with a quick deck tech with Jeskai Murktide. Once again, in case people hadn't noticed, I've updated the channel a little bit. I've pulled down all of the content not related to currently Modern Burn, Modern Murktide, Delver, whatever variant you want to call it, and currently Legacy Delver. Part of this is some YouTube algorithm things, trying to unjumble the algorithm for the channel, kind of narrowing down what we're focusing on for the channel. The other content has not been deleted. It's simply archived for right now, not currently available. There are some things in my mind. I made a community post that I might, separate the channels down the road. This is not something that would happen anytime soon because I just don't, frankly, have the time right now. Might do like take a pile of the control stuff and move it to another channel, make it like a Blue White X control channel, just different ideas floating around in my head as to what the final destination of that archive stuff is. I don't know. Maybe once the channel gets a little bit more traction on the algorithm and stuff again, maybe I'll bring some of it back if people have particular stuff they want to watch, like their donation decks or this, that, and the other thing. Like, there's a lot of just stuff that was on there. There was some World of Warcraft stuff. There was some standard stuff from like Ixalan. There was some Pioneer stuff. There was some, just a whole bunch of different things that, like, well, I've definitely ebbed and flowed what I've covered over the years, both on this channel and other channels. Wanted to kind of narrow it back down. A couple of decks I enjoy in Modern. Currently the de facto best deck in Legacy, although it's likely to take a ban hit after Eternal Weekend. But it still opens up other possibilities, like, the blue-black Death Shadow deck that I enjoyed so much. That's still kind of a thing you could play in Legacy, even if Delver takes a severe hit, etc. But all that said, we're going to cover Murktide, we're going to cover Burn, at least up until CFB Vegas. Want to get a baseline for people, do a short sideboard guide if possible for both decks. That's kind of going to be the focus for the next couple of weeks at least. Beyond that, we'll see what happens. I've got the move coming up. Was supposed to get the apartment yesterday. I'm recording this on a Saturday, but I'm getting it on Monday instead because of some work stuff. But you're here for a Jeskai Murktide deck. This is a evolution of Blue-Red Murktide, simply playing a few white cards like Teferi Time Raveler and Prismatic Ending. Beyond that, you have all the fan favorites, Ragavan, Darcy, Murktide Regent. Basically, this deck wasn't really possible until MH2, in addition to Counterspell. You have Counterspell, Archmage's Charm, along with Consider as your kind of instant speed suite, along with Unholy Heat and Bolt. Mishra's Bauble kind of helping to tie it all together, pairs nicely with your Dragon Rage's Chandler, gives you Delirium for your Unholy Heat and that. Expressive Iteration, probably the best cantrip or / card advantage card in Modern, especially for as relatively cheap as it is. Unlike Legacy, where you have Brainstorm and Ponder, not really a ton of good card selection in Modern. You used to have to play things like Serum Visions and Sleight of Hand. Now you have things like Consider to kind of fill in those gaps. Beyond that, some prismatic endings to give you some answers to things. A lot of people like to attack this deck with Graveyard Hate. This gives you answers to almost every Graveyard Hate possible, at least of the permanent-based variety. Although this deck can certainly win through Graveyard Hate. And then, beyond that, you're just a good tempo-ish deck. And then obviously Murktide Regent as the premier threat in the deck, as it's kind of hard to deal with sometimes. Sideboards, Blossoming Columns, primarily here for Burn, can also potentially bring in against discard spell decks. Path Exile when you need to kill opposing Murktides, Eldrazi, etc. And sometimes Unholy Heat and Bolt aren't enough. 4th copy is Prismatic Ending, 3 copies of Wear Tear. I'm not entirely sure that I agree with all this. I guess this is good against the Saga decks, so maybe I shouldn't discount that. But it feels like we almost have too much anti-graveyard stuff available to us in this build. But this is AspiringSpike's build, so, we'll go with it. Alpine Moon for Tron and Urza's Saga. 2 copies of Flusterstorm for any type of counterspell nonsense, whether you're up against the Cascade decks, whether you're up against other counterspell decks, etc. And then Dovin's Veto when you need something to absolutely not resolve. And then 2 copies of Teferi Time Raveler. Once again, pseudo hate card for a lot of those decks, as well as, just a reasonable spell against control and such. Just to stop a lot of the Cascade nonsense. if you can get to turn 3, slam it to fairy, and they can't answer it, then you can kind of tempo them out with the rest of your tools. So that's it. Let's get into some matches and see how this deck does. We're back with match number 1 for our first match in a bit with Murktide of any style in Modern. Yeah, hand seems fine. We are on the play. Pass the turn. Okay. Interesting. Okay. No. Opponent going to play a... Nope, nothing. Okay, I am thoroughly confused. Play Hex Drinker. Oh, it's got a... Nope. You can mana leak your own dude. That's perfectly fine. Verdict stays supreme. Not sure what I do here, honestly. It's got 4 cards. Okay. Okay. Sure. Should let the prismatic ending on top, it looks like. Alright, looks like we win anyway. Still not quite sure what's going on with our opponent's deck. Probably interested in those. Might be interested in the Flusterstorms. One land, bunch of expensive spells. This hand's kind of terrible, but I think we have to keep it. It's a pretty good draw. I was supposed to tick down on that in case they have prismatic ending here. That one's kind of annoying, but it's also kind of whatever. Sure. Looks like our opponent forgot to fetch with their one flagstones. Oh, one's put into a graveyard. That's a non-bow. Sure. I mean, it's a threat, technically. Slow one, but a threat nonetheless. It's a slow burning clock now. Legit don't care about rest in peace. Alright, what you got, friend? Coatl is resolving. Accidentally screwed up, unfortunately, because I didn't put enough into killing. Sure. Sure. Okay. Revelation. Alright. Alright, nice to pick up a win here. Alright, we're back for match number 2 in this league with Jeskai Murktide on the play. Looks like our opponent has a companion. Probably Lurrus. Nope, Yorion. Yorion. It's a little bit slow, but I think we can work with it. By slow, I mean it doesn't have any disruption for whatever our opponent's got going on over there. Expected to run into a Dryad Arbor. Survive Triumph. Yikes. Well, that's gonna hurt a lot. I'm going to take a bit of a gamble here. See if our opponent opts to block. Well, crap. Expecting them to block there, but sure. Yeah, okay, sure. Opponent's got quite the pile over there. So right now we're currently missing land. That can definitely go in the yard. I guess ending the hand, I don't think we can ever cast it though, so. Recruiter could probably be problematic. Probably should have played our land, although I don't know it really matters, honestly. Sure. Alright, got a general idea of what our opponent has. They're a red-white Veldar Guardian, probably Kiki Jiki, Blood Moon pile nonsense. Possible we want paths. Beyond that, I'm not really sure we want a whole lot. Teferi feels a little bit questionable. Like, yeah, it potentially answers Blood Moon, but kind of like this, maybe? It's got a few more lands than I like, but it's probably fine. Question is, are they going to 2-for-1 themselves to answer this Ragavan? Our priority is to fetch basic islands with ease. Yeah, looks like they are. At least have the illusion that I have a counterspell in my hand, even though I don't. Maybe I was supposed to hold up Archmage's Charm there and then bolt the... Alright, so what's actually in our graveyard right now? 1, 2. So at least gets it out of whatchamacallit range. Fury range, so they do have to solitude it. Their play was to put Urion in hand. Okay, so I might have dodged a bullet on that one. Heard Mesa. Okay. Alright. So our opponent just conceded without actually seeing if I had a counterspell or not, so, you know, things happen, I suppose. So our opponent's just like a red-white mid-range deck with like Solitudes and Furies. And has like Resto, presumably Kiki, Felidar Guardian, with Imperial Recruiter kind of tying all the combo together. Sounds okay, I guess. Alright, so we can hold up Consider and Bolt here now that I have both basic islands. Probably go get the Savai again. Savai, Savai, Savai. Stoneforge Mystic on 2 again. Yup. Sword of Fura and Ice. Did I just iteration this turn, even though it's kind of card disadvantage? Consider, I guess. Consider our options. Okay. Yep, your 1/1 gets in, sure. Sure, go to wall. Sure. Sure. Literally no reason to blink here, no pun intended. Sure. Pun hits us for 4. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Let's draw Ragadan, although we're not particularly happy about it. So 2, 4, 5, 6. Sure, so I have to have 2 bolts to kill us here. Alright, nice to pull out that win after a loss in game 1.